What's up guys, and welcome back to Wall Street Millennial. With the recent price action in GameStop and other meme stocks, many on the Wallstreetbets forum have suffered steep losses as they are forced to reckon with the reality that stocks can go up as well as down. In this video, we're going over some of the biggest gains and losses on the Wallstreetbets forum of the past week so we can learn from other traders' experiences. Keep in mind that we are not financial advisors and any investment you make is at your own risk. First off, we have user CMOS, who lost more than $120,000 in the past week alone. He was all in on GameStop stock, and as you can see, his portfolio closely tracks the movements of GameStop over the past week. He says he has no idea what is going on and will just continue to hold the shares and see what happens. Commenters point out that the $120,000 loss represents 5 years of savings for an average person, and fellow Wallstreetbets traders should use this as a lesson not to make such massive YOLOs on volatile meme stocks. CMOS claims he only invested what he was willing to lose, so he should be able to come back from the loss. His greed got the best of him and he wanted to get in on the short squeeze. Unfortunately, he got in too late. If you bought at the beginning of the squeeze, you would have made 16 times returns just by buying the stock. But with outsized returns comes commensurately high risk, and when betting on parabolic stocks, there is always a risk that you buy at the top. It appears this is exactly what happened to CMOS. Fortunately, the money he used for this GameStop YOLO came from his investment gains in 2020. He lost 90% of his 2020 gains, but this is preferable to losing hard-earned money from a 9-to-5 job. On the bright side, he can use his losses as a tax write-off in 2021. Furthermore, he is now free to make $120,000 of tax-free investment gains this year. But he will have to do the hard work of prudent investing to take advantage of this. We wish you luck. We're keeping track of the gains and losses of this video on a leaderboard. This user starts out at number 1 with a loss of $120,000. Not all Wallstreetbets users suffered losses on GameStop this week. User Elusive Witcher bought into GameStop near the beginning of the short squeeze. He had a disciplined investment plan and took profits as soon as the stock crossed the $300 mark. While this wasn't exactly at the top, it was pretty close and allowed him to register $26,000 of profit, which more than doubled his portfolio value. The OP made his massive gain by buying early and selling early. Unfortunately, not all Wallstreetbets users had such impeccable timing, with user Muted Habits saying that he bought in at $300 and is currently bag holding. Some commenters deride his paper hands, but user LMT47 points out that it's not right to troll people for taking profits. The OP took these GameStop gains and put them into a diversified portfolio of high-quality value and growth stocks, including Apple, Ford, Canadian Transport and Logistics Company TFII International, chip maker AMD, electronics giant Sony, gaming peripherals company Corsair Gaming, and VGAC, a SPAC that will merge with consumer genetics company 23andMe. We wish you luck on these investments. With a gain of $26,000, this user is at the bottom of the leaderboard. The leaderboard puts greatest loss at the top and biggest gain at the bottom, so near the bottom is where you want to be. Next off, we have user RansomFA, whose portfolio is now down more than 47% for all time. He piled into the top Wallstreetbets meme stocks including Nokia, GameStop, and BlackBerry, buying all of them near the top. For example, he is down 26% on his Nokia position. The stock is only down 33% from the peak, so he had to have bought near the top on January 27 to have made such a large loss. Despite these losses, he has no intention of selling, saying the pressure has turned his hands into diamonds. One interesting thing about this post is it shows the international nature of the Wallstreetbets forum. It turns out our friends from across the pond also enjoy YOLOing on stocks and options, with the OP hailing from the UK. Furthermore, multiple commenters are also from the UK, as they complain about their shared experience using the Hargreaves Lansdowne British investing app. Apparently, the app does not allow stop-loss limit orders, and price quotes for stocks are delayed by 15 minutes. While there are legitimate criticisms about US trading apps, it appears that foreign apps may be even worse. While the OP's 47% loss is surely painful, this account doesn't represent all of his net worth. He also has other investments and opened this trading account just to make some YOLOs on meme stocks. Good luck on your future plays. With a loss of roughly $2,500, this user is in the middle of the leaderboard. Next up, we have user Overwatch and Weed, who made some significant gains by buying Canadian cannabis producer Aphria Inc. In December, Aphria reached an agreement with fellow cannabis producer Tilray to enter into an all-stock merger agreement to produce the world's largest legal cannabis company. Aphria shareholders would own 62% of the combined entity. The OP analyzed the relative valuations of the two companies and found that Aphria was relatively undervalued compared to Tilray, thus representing a merger arbitrage opportunity. He went all in on Aphria calls and made 350%, or almost $9,000 of gains in the past month alone. Besides his merger arbitrage play, both stocks did extremely well over the past month around optimism that the Biden administration will be more open to a nationwide legalization of marijuana. While GameStop has dominated the Wallstreetbets community for the past week, the OP impressively made GameStop-level gains despite never touching GameStop stock. We wish you luck on your future plays. Next off, we have the biggest loss of the video so far. User BM lost 87% of his portfolio, or more than $500,000 in the past week, as GameStop stock has tanked from its highs. To put this into perspective, if the OP instead used this money to make prudent long-term investments yielding 10%, he could make $50,000 a year in passive income. This would be enough to live comfortably on a beach for the rest of his life, never having to enter a wage cage again. In hindsight, it was obviously not wise to put so much money into YOLO on one stock. User Amazon Pro wonders how people with such smooth brains have so much capital to invest in these types of YOLOs. He says the OP might as well have put his money into a slot machine, where at least he could see flashy lights as he loses his money. Far from being distraught by this life-changing loss, the OP is surprisingly casual, saying money comes and goes and you might as well YOLO it for fun. He even says he plans to YOLO his 401k on Wallstreetbets meme stocks. While his $500,000 loss is surely dramatic, he likely bought into GameStop before the top, and the majority of his loss is probably unrealized gains. He only posts the 1 week chart, so we don't know this for sure, but if it is true, he may not have lost as much money in total. If he bought in early enough, it's possible he may even be up slightly from the initial investment. We wish you luck on your future YOLOs. With a loss of more than $500,000, this user easily tops the list for the biggest loss of the video so far. Next up, we have the user Smokey's Most Wanted, who lost 77% of his portfolio, or $1,500 off GameStop. He owns 7 shares of GameStop, having bought in for around $2,000. That means he bought when GameStop stock was around $285 a share, quite near the top. However, he has no intention of selling, as we've seen many people in the forum also say. For this trader who bought in at or near the top, most of the potential losses have already been incurred. For example, for this person, he has already lost 3 times as much money on GameStop as what he currently has left at risk. This sentiment seems to be consistent with traditional Wallstreetbets thinking. Although the dollar amount is relatively tame, the fact that he was able to call the top at $285, very close to the actual top, is impressive. Sorry for your loss, Smokey's Most Wanted. This user's loss was modest as a dollar amount, putting him near the middle of the list. Next up, we have a huge loss from user I'm Uncomfortable. He was all in on GameStop calls, particularly out-of-the-money weekly calls with a $200 strike and expiring February 5th. At the time of his post, that was almost 3 times the current share price of GameStop, meaning those calls had about 6 hours of trading for the stock to increase in value almost 200% in order for them to just break even. It seems that he has some idea of what is going to happen to those calls at the end of the day. To make matters worse, it was not a small position. Those calls cost $261 each, which could only mean that he entered into this $26,000 trade pretty close to the brutal top. Now those calls are worth only 6 cents each, meaning the position incurred a 99.98% loss so far. That's pretty brutal for a trade that only lasted about a week. Sorry for your loss. While this user's loss was the biggest in terms of percentage points, down 99.98%, in terms of a dollar amount, he is only number 3 on the leaderboard. After that brutal 100% loss, let's balance it out with a nice gain on GameStop made by user Henry the John. He made a nice 1,084% gain in one trading day, or $3,261 gain. He made this gain on none other than GameStop calls, particularly out-of-the-money weekly calls with only 1 day till expiry. He paid $288 for one contract of $90 strike calls expiring the next day, February 5th. On the morning of expiry, GameStop stock jumped by more than 50%. Although this jump doesn't look significant compared to the rest of the 5-day chart, you have to remember that with GameStop, even comparatively small movements are massive compared to other stocks. This single trade alone netted Henry the John the majority of his current portfolio value. In fact, it was a full 10-bagger plus in less than a day. If he had done that with more capital, he could have turned it into an absurd amount of money. But a $3,000 gain is still very good. I'd take it if someone offered it to me. It is these kinds of gains that feel the best to see, the small-time trader making money on the markets. Congratulations on your $3,000 payday. This user's gain of greater than 1,000% is surely impressive, but his small initial investment limited his gains to $3,200 and is only the 3rd largest gain on the leaderboard. Next up, we have another loss on GameStop, this time with user Hero Can't Be Beat losing almost his entire portfolio value in the span of just a few days. Things were looking up for this Wallstreetbets user as he was making consistent low volatility gains over the course of 2020, taking advantage of the historic rally in the broader market. However, he just couldn't help but buy in at the top of GameStop, and as a result went from about $9,000 down to $100 for a 99% loss. All that hard work of the past year down the toilet in just a couple days. Despite his losses, this Wallstreetbets user is not selling. Following the herd mentality, he is still holding on to GameStop even after these huge losses. He's able to take these losses graciously because of the pain tolerance of his diamond hands. Sorry for your loss. This user's loss was also extreme in terms of percentage, but the dollar amount of $9,000 gives him only the 4th largest loss on the leaderboard. Next up, we have a significant gain on GameStop. User Darkland posted a screenshot of his portfolio up a mouth-watering 3,021% for a total dollar amount of $20,000. Of course, all of these gains were from one jump caused by a GameStop play. He got in when GameStop stock was around $40 a share and bought a 48 strike call expiring on February 5th. This was after the first squeeze higher, but right before the mega squeeze that happened around January 27th. At the peak, around $400, this call would have had about $350 of intrinsic value, or $35,000 per contract. That means that it would have been probably worth at least $50,000 at the peak considering the time value. Right now, a couple hours before expiry, the call is worth pretty much the intrinsic value due to theta, and thus is probably only worth about $1,500. Luckily for this Wallstreetbets user, he sold sometime between the peak and now to lock in $20,000 of gains. This isn't just a one-time jackpot. If this Wallstreetbets user is 23 years old and retires at age 65, and invests this $20,000 in aggressive investments yielding an average return of 10%, by retirement age, this $20,000 will turn into over $1 million. That would yield a passive retirement income over $100,000 a year. Of course, that's making some strong assumptions and not taking into account the fact that inflation will make $1 million worth much less 42 years from now. But still, it puts this $20,000 windfall into perspective. Congratulations on your new retirement plan. At $20,000, this user minted the 2nd largest gain on the leaderboard. Let's round out the video with a post from user Memento Mori 44BC, who apparently made a lot of money on the GameStop squeeze and donated all of his gains to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. This is a heartwarming example of what we've seen time and time again, Wallstreetbets users using the money made off the greedy hedge funds for noble causes like this. While some lose money, those who make money frequently use it to pay family medical bills, donate to charities in need, or pay off student loans and other noble causes. And the best part is, this generosity is contagious, like this commenter who vows to do the same as soon as he makes more than $20 of gains. Congratulations on a job well done. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. Also check out our second channel, WSM Research, where we post regular update videos on a select few high-tech growth stocks like Alibaba and Huya. In the meantime, make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and we'll see you in the next video. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.